Our next presenter is Iva Mihajlovic from economics. Her faculty mentor is Dr. Yi Li in management. Eva has conducted research with Dr. Li as a research assistant in the Behavioral Economics and Decision-Making Lab. She has traveled to Long Beach to present at the National Conference for Undergraduate Research, and she's planning to continue conducting undergraduate research next year and apply to graduate school in the fall. The title of her presentation is Mindfulness, Patience, and Intertemporal Choice. Can mindfulness increase patience? Okay, Eva, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Linda. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this morning. I know that it's very early, so I'll try to keep everybody awake. So as she said, my name is Iva Mihajlovic, and I am a third-year economics major. My faculty mentor is Dr. Yi Li in the College of Business, and my talk is titled Mindfulness, Patience, and Intertemporal Choice. Can mindfulness increase patience? So as she also said, I am a member of the Behavioral Economics and Decision-Making Lab here at UCR, run by Dr. Li, and I made this logo, so of course I had to put it on here somewhere. So a little bit about how this research came to be. I was the vice president of my sorority here at UCR, Kappa Kappa Gamma, and I noticed that some of my sisters were not paying dues, but they were paying for expensive Starbucks drinks, such as $8 oat milk lattes. So I wondered, why would this be if it's going to harm their future selves? Perhaps they're stressed out about school and are therefore being impatient and not making mindful decisions. So before we go into the study, there are a few topics that I would like to go over. The first one being intertemporal choice. So what is intertemporal choice? This involves choices involving trade-offs between consequences, so costs or benefits, at different points in time. For example, how much we want $100 today versus $120 in, say, 6 months or 1 year, assuming that you will get the $120 in that 6 months or a year. Next is temporal discounting, which is essentially a psychological interest rate that people charge to wait for something, and future consequences should generally be discounted. Think that you would rather have $100 today versus in 2 weeks, for example. So the idea is that we discount or give less value to future consequences because we have to wait for them. So rationally, we can think of inflation, money becoming less valuable in the future, uncertainty about the future, etc. However, there's also a lot of evidence that people discount for irrational reasons as well. So why is all of this important? Why do we care? Why are we testing this? Time preferences contribute to many choices in aspects of our lives. Higher discount rates or being more impatient are correlated with real-world financial and health outcomes, such as insufficient saving, credit card debt, obesity and lack of exercise, smoking, and drug use. And so, of course, finding ways to help people become more patient and make better intertemporal choices is a very valuable goal. So lastly, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with openness and curiosity. And we think that one possible way to improve patience may be through mindfulness. The idea is that mindfulness will lead to increased patience and then more larger later decisions, or waiting more time to get more money, being more patient. We think that it'll reduce impulsivity and the perceived temporal distance to the future. Mindfulness has also been found to have various benefits for psychological and physical well-being, such as reducing stress, anxiety, and depression, and improving attention, memory, and emotion regulation. So that leads to our research question, which is, will meditation make people more patient as opposed to a neutral control measured by an intertemporal choice task? So the way that we went about testing this was through an experiment with 389 participants who were randomly assigned to one of two conditions, the first one being a 3-minute mindfulness meditation video, and the second one being how to tie a tie. The idea behind choosing these two videos was that the meditation video would lead to increased patience, which is what we're trying to test, and then that the tie video would be a neutral control to compare this to. Then participants in both groups were taking a survey where we had them complete first a 12-item intertemporal choice task, where they had questions such as, would you rather have $504 today or $524 in 1 month? And then within these were also 2 attention check questions, such as, would you rather have $791 today or $777 in 1 month? So clearly, if you choose the latter in this scenario, you are not paying attention to the survey, and any participants who chose the latter in these scenarios were immediately dropped from our data set. We also had them answer a one item measure of risk preference from the Eckel-Grossman risk preference measure, where they chose among 6 gambles when they flip heads and tails. If they choose one of the higher gambles, such as $28 versus $28, then these participants are more risk averse, as opposed to choosing a gamble where they could get $2 for the chance of getting $20 or $70, meaning that they were more risk loving. And then they also had to answer a time perception question where they reported how far away 1 month, 6 months, and 1 year feel from today on a scale of 0 being not very far to 100 being very far away. They also reported emotions evoked from the videos, including relaxed or calm, indifferent, neutral, and unemotional, and then a series of synonyms for afraid, cheerful, angry, sad, disgusted, and etc. We chose the first two to hopefully test the patience invoked by the meditation video. The second group was to test the neutrality of the neutral video, and then the rest of them were just so that participants were unaware of what we were testing. We also measured individual differences, such as how much they meditate or do mindfulness practices in their personal lives, as well as a series of demographic questions. For our data, we collected it from UCR business students as part of a research session where they were given course credit in exchange. We had to remove 81 participants for failing the 2 attention check questions. And after using the interquartile method to remove outliers for completion time, 31 more observations were removed for a total of 277 observations. Of these observations, 53.68% were male and 46.32% were female. What did we find? Unfortunately, the manipulation did not have the effect that we desired. As you can see here, there was a small difference between the meditation control for calm and relaxed, meditation being a little bit higher, but this difference was not significant. And interestingly enough, the indifferent, neutral, and emotional measures were exactly the same for the 2 groups. We see the same here in the time preferences with a small and significant difference between the 2 groups, as well as for time perception. So the data clearly did not support our initial hypothesis. There was no significant difference between the 2 groups. And in fact, the meditation group actually happened to make riskier decisions. So if you recall back to our Eckel-Grossman risk preference measure, although insignificant, the meditation group actually tended to make riskier decisions on average. So why could this be? One possible explanation for this data is that participants in the meditation group were bored after the meditation session and thus seek some fun in making riskier decisions. Another could be that mindfulness could make people more aware of their innermost thoughts and feelings, and participants might have realized that they were feeling impatient while they were doing the meditation manipulation. A few limitations of our study include that the pool of participants was mostly college students in business rewarded with credit for the class, so not all of them might have taken the study seriously as much as we might nag them to do so, which doesn't give us the most accurate information regarding our manipulation and its effectiveness. Some future research directions include trying a different manipulation using compassion, where participants watch a video about single mothers to increase patience and compassion, and just overall finding a better way to manipulate mindfulness. Thank you all so much for coming, and if you have any questions, here's my email. Thank you.